All right, so this will be exciting and new. Episode 3, recorded June 5th, 2021. The 3 episodes that were in this Love Boat episode were Odell, The Main Event, A Tasteful Affair, and it originally aired October 1st, 1977, a day before my 3rd birthday.
Nice. I wonder what your parents were doing that night. I just like to point out at the start here that something that I realized.
Oh, by the way, I'm Jason.
Oh, and I'm Andy. Sorry.
And our producer.
Oh, he's silent.
Brian.
There he is. One of the things I noticed this time that I haven't noticed before on the original pilot movie or the first episode is that each segment gets its own director.
I noticed that this episode as well.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm like, so really there's, I mean, I would assume that they're all filming at different times. They're not all there waiting for their little segment of the world to film. There's not a lot of crossover, so I don't know. I just thought that was very interesting. I was like, you really need 3 directors for this? This is not that complex show to film.
Each story has their own separate writer, obviously, but like,
that makes sense. But
I was curious. I was surprised when I saw it too. I noticed that yesterday when I watched the episode.
It's an hour-long show. Every hour-long show would have its own director. So the fact that it's 3 separate stories doesn't really make any less sense that it would need 3 different directors. I don't know. I thought that was really silly. That's a lot of money you're paying in. 3 directors per episode?
I think so. Yeah, I'm not sure what the average rate for
well, back then, who even knows?
Doing an episode of The Love Boat was, but
all right. So
we could talk about the special guests for this week.
Sure.
This episode. I have some listed here if we want to like see what maybe some of their top movies or TV shows were in their top 4. There's a few of them we could do, but
all right. Let's try it out.
Dennis Cole. Obviously, I've seen the face before.
He has a very distinct face. He's got very blonde hair and very dark eyebrows. I mean, I guess his hair is bleached, but that was a very distinct look. As soon as I saw him, I was like, this guy has played a bad guy in lots of stuff. Probably a lot of 70s, 80s, like made-for-TV movies.
The main thing I saw, he played a character on The Young and the Restless, so that makes me think that he was probably a villain on one of those on a soap opera or something, because I think he did a bunch of episodes too. But the next one, I'm not sure how you pronounce her name, Tova Fieldsha.
Okay, well, I have no idea who she was until I looked her up after the fact, and she was on The Walking Dead for a couple episodes. She was Deanna.
She was in Brewster's Millions.
Was she really? Who was she in Brewster's Millions?
I'm looking at the top 4 here. She was Marilyn in Brewster's
Millions.
Millions.
She was. Oh, I know who she was. She was like what's his name? Seventh Heaven Pedophile's ex-wife, the one that was decorating Richard Pryor's room.
Yes,
that was her. Yes. Okay. Wow, I didn't realize
That's
that. But
great.
But she was also in The Walking Dead. She was Deanna on that when they went to Alexandria, and I think Rick killed her. Or
she's dead. That show's dead.
She's
too.
definitely been dead for a long time. But oh wow, okay, wow, she's Brewster's
that was
Millions.
nice,
That's a
yeah.
good one. All right.
Our good pal, old friend of the show, Sherman Hemsley.
Love Sherman Hemsley. I mean, besides Jefferson's, All in the Family, and Amen. I don't know what else he did, but
yeah, I think that's
I'm
pretty
sure
much,
he did a lot of other stuff. But I know he was one of those guys that he would be on like in Living Color, and
he would pop up on random shows.
Yeah.
I think he might have been in like an episode of Married with Children at one point or something like that as well. Also, LaWanda Page, she's in it, and that's from Aunt Esther from Sanford and Son.
Also, one of her better roles was oh, good Lord. She was the grandmother in
Friday.
No.
But she was in Friday.
Was she really?
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Was she also in, oh man, what the hell was that movie called? One of the Wayans brothers movies. Don't Be a Menace. Was she in that? Was she the grandmother in that?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me see. Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the
She was
hood.
the grandma. She was the one that was
She
smoking
played
weed.
old school mom.
She was the one smoking weed, punk motherfucker. Like that was her big line in the movie. Great movie, by the way.
Oh, I love that movie. Okay, so then John Ritter.
I've heard of him.
You may know him from some things like Three's a Crowd.
Three's a Crowd. I watched that stupid show. Not a very good show.
No, but I do remember watching that as well. But Sling Blade, that's one of his movies.
He was in Sling Blade, the one with Billy Bob Thornton?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. I never saw that.
The Problem Child.
Problem Child.
With Gilbert.
He was in a movie called Skin Deep
Skin Deep. I
which
do remember
I
that
saw
one.
in the movie theater because John Ritter was in it. I'm like, oh, John Ritter's doing a movie. I am watching this. And that had the infamous scene where he was like I don't know if he was a sexaholic or something like that. Yeah. It was all about him getting laid the whole time. And then there's a scene where he puts on a glow in the dark condom and the girl turns off the light. And then another guy comes into the room with a glow in the dark condom on. And it's like a scene out of Empire Strikes Back. You just see a red sword and a blue sword, and they're running around the room in the complete pitch black. So you just see the blue and the red bouncing all over the place. Very good scene in a otherwise terrible, forgettable
movie.
Me
of the full body condom from Naked Gun. Okay, so Jaclyn Smith was in there as well. You may know her from.
I know her from Charlie's Angels. I'm sure she was in other things, but I couldn't tell you what.
Yeah, Charlie's Angels was the main thing I knew her from. I don't know if I mean, she's probably been in plenty again.
I don't have much of a Charlie's Angels memory. It was on when I was young, and I didn't care about girls at that point. I cared.
Still doesn't.
Well, probably not. It was probably on at the same time like The Incredible Hulk and The $6 Million Man were on. I'd rather watch those shows. But I remember my dad loved Jaclyn Smith. Like that was his girl.
Oh, she looked great in this episode.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that. Yeah.
But that would I remember everybody was like going gaga over Farrah Fawcett, and my dad was always like, "F her, Jaclyn Smith." I was like, "All right, Dad."
There's a few other people in the cast, but I had no idea who they were. Jennifer Shaw, David Knapp, Craig Littler.
I don't even know who those actually played in the show.
I have it written down here. There's like the Jennifer Shaw was the girl that John Ritter was chasing after at first.
Oh, the one that was the one that was on the boat with the other guy. Yeah.
Which they just kept bringing up that Mercedes. I don't know.
That meant something.
Like I was like,
I guess that meant something.
Is going to be a big payoff here or something?
I remember Danny's friend got a Mercedes when he turned 17. I was like, this doesn't mean anything anymore. It's on the status symbol
product
anymore.
Placement, I thought maybe even too.
Early
product placement.
Maybe. Yeah, because they could have given him something else. It was the 70s. It could have still been an American car at that point.
Yeah, right. I mean, but also I'll get into it because that's what. I'm sorry, that's in the first scene when I didn't want to go into that. I was jumping.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Okay. The opening scene. The credits just rolled, and we arrived. They're checking tickets. Somebody was actually checking tickets.
I noticed this time they were checking tickets. Although still, John Ritter will be easily able to get on the boat, but
he's on the boat, and when people are coming on the boat, they're going up those steps. Yeah. He's already down, so I don't. Yeah.
I think he'd probably enter on the ground floor, but
he was all over that.
But so Jaclyn Smith's fighting with her husband. It's her husband, right? Yeah,
it's her husband at first, and he's not going on a cruise because of work or something like that, and she needs to find herself basically. So it doesn't look like the relationship's working.
So this is the second episode in a row where someone's in a relationship and they're going on a cruise by themselves. Because last week the girl that was dating Jimmy Walker was going on the cruise by herself.
Yes.
And now we have
Jaclyn
Come into
Smith. Play too when
we have
trying to get a ticket.
25-year-old Jaclyn Smith going on a cruise by herself.
Yeah, and this guy basically done with Jaclyn Smith. I mean, that's just I don't understand that.
He obviously hasn't seen Charlie's Angels. And so now
that's when we see the blonde passenger looking at Jaclyn Smith, and you figure, what's that all about?
Well, I mean, at first you think he's going to be the one that's cheating on her. Like he's the secret boyfriend.
Yeah,
but
like he's stuck on there to be.
Then you find out he's actually being paid by the husband to tail her, make sure she's not cheating on him.
He wants him to file a report and bring it to his office next week, and he's just basically he's like done with the relationship. It seems like right by then.
These guys both look like they should be something, but they're not. Like he kind of looks like Robert Wagner a little bit, maybe the guy on the right there.
I believe. Yeah, he played.
Should we not be talking like we're actually watching the show?
Was it Lucas Bradford? I think he played Lucas Bradford.
Bradford on the what? Is enough? No, sorry. And this dude looks like Colin Farrell with blonde hair. Like when I first saw him, I was like, this guy could be Colin Farrell. Except Colin Farrell at this point is probably like 8 years old.
And then this is one of my favorite, the bickering between Sherman Hemsley and LaWanda Page. I mean, two great voices, I think, and they work well off of each other. I thought,
and they were both. I mean, he is at the height. This is like if the Jeffersons hasn't started yet, it's just about to start, and he's definitely All in the Family by now. So he's big time at this point, and Sanford and Son's definitely on at this time.
Yeah,
in '77. So they're both like big This is like a big get for them.
Yeah, and he's the sausage king, and he has a business card that's shaped like a sausage.
I'd also like to point out that, Love Boat, very progressive for its time, because it's the second episode in a row where there's a black couple that's like as one of the main cast of the show.
And the Love Boat's going to get even more woke as we see some cross-dressing coming up soon.
There's also
spoiler alert.
There's also a comment of he's a straight arrow. Like
yes, I had that.
Okay.
Yeah, but so they were bickering, and then it's almost like they bicker to a point to where they're like, "Oh, I love you."
Yeah. Well,
so it's already like that in the beginning. I think
their whole plot is that. That is it.
And it's done. Their episode could be done right there.
Honestly, you don't even have to go back to them. They're going to get stuck in the elevator halfway through, and they spend the rest of the time in the elevator where they decide that they still love each other, even though they want to fight. They fight, and they still love each other, and that's it. And that's their whole. That's it. That's their whole story.
And it works.
Yeah,
it works for them.
It was fine.
And then we're followed by, real quickly, John Ritter storming onto the boat, chasing after a lady named Jennifer Shaw. She played Joanne Pringle. He's basically running up the stairs on the boat.
Married already? I was never very.
They never
clear
gave
on
that
this.
point. I mean, that's what I thought was going to happen too. Like you weren't, because he's not the other man. You were the other man. Is what I thought it was going to end up being.
Because her name
like
is Pringle, and eventually you're going to find out the guy's name is Pringle.
But he also
too.
says they're not married, because remember he makes a comment saying, "Do you allow that on this kind of boat?"
So maybe they're just like using it as a cover.
Yep. And she basically says that she doesn't want anything to do with John Ritter. She used him for his father's beach house.
Oh, is that what she said?
Or it was his uncle's beach house, maybe? His uncle's beach house. And she said she would have dated his uncle for the week at the beach house. She made that comment, too. I thought was a little dig on
poor John.
John. And then this is also where she mentions the Mercedes. It's just, there's a lot of talk about that Mercedes.
Now, so she came on this boat by herself to meet the other guy, and John Ritter followed her on.
Yes.
Not unlike Jimmy Walker following.
It was very, very similar to that. I thought the same thing. Yeah. Yes.
So how long do you think it takes someone to write their episode of The Love Boat?
We figure
like
it's
half hour.
You figure it's a 40-minute episode, so they get about 13 minutes roughly for their script, right?
Wow, really? Yeah.
If you think about it,
like
right?
who writes you're writing the episode of Love Boat. Who writes the crew nonsense that goes back and forth that doesn't have anything to do with the episode? Just has to do with
which director takes that.
Gopher and Julie are just talking, and who writes that part. Now here we go.
Yeah.
So
first off, John Ritter wanted to get a ticket.
Yep.
He asked if there was anything available. Maybe somebody died. Maybe somebody canceled. Somebody did cancel, but it was a female sharing her room with another female, so they couldn't sell a ticket to a man.
Which is funny that they would have those qualms on the Love Boat that you couldn't give that. Although it wouldn't be fair to the other woman not knowing that she was going to be bunking with a man. I guess you would have to actually check with that person.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be something like you would check off, like, I want to be paired up with a lady.
Again,
you know what? Let's do a little.
Again, the people sailing by themselves on these. Well, I guess she wasn't actually sailing by herself. She was supposed to be on her honeymoon, and the guy canceled, so she wasn't by herself.
True,
but
true.
Like if you're, I don't know, if you're supposed to go on your honeymoon and the guy cancels, do you actually cancel his? Yeah, it's just call and say like Mr. Smith's not coming on the boat, like he can resell his ticket. Do you really do that? Anyway,
also there's no computers too, so he just had it in his paperwork too.
Oh yeah,
so
someone called up 1-800 Love Boat and canceled their ticket. So John Ritter hatches the brilliant plan. He watches this woman walk by.
Yeah, was it like were they like a band?
It was
or something like
she
that?
was like a Dolly Parton looking woman, an obvious wig, and like these 4 dudes in cowboy hats just walking behind her. They will come back later where she's walking on the deck of the boat and these 4 guys with no shirts on, cowboy hats still on, are walking behind her. You never see them playing in a band. You would think that
I thought they were going to be entertainment on the boat or something like that.
But so he steals her wig and then steals all the bags of this other poor woman.
He measures himself up against that lady first to see. He stands like back,
all
shoulders.
Like
he took both her bags. Yeah.
She's probably like, what the hell happened to my bags? Like, I can't change for the whole weekend now because John Ritter wants to get laid. Ay. So then John Ritter gets in the get up and he's in the bathroom changing, in the men's room, of course. He's changing in the men's room. And then he comes out as a woman and there's a moment where the guy's like,
They're all like, va va voom.
What? Like a woman in the men's room? And he's already drunk looking, that guy. He's kind of like rubbing his eyes like, I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue or something like that.
It's a 5-day cruise they're on.
I believe it's the same itinerary as last week.
It sounds like it because it was Puerto Vallarta, Cabo San Lucas, and Ensenada. And is that where Anthony's at? Cabo San Lucas? A little shout out to our friend Anthony who got
on
married.
His honeymoon right now? Yeah, okay. Yes, so I think it's the same itinerary as last week. Very interesting.
Yes. And then, okay, so...
so now we've been on John Ritter for a long time because now he's dressed in drag.
He had a great line in that bathroom, though, real quick, when he said... when that guy didn't know who, he's like staring at him like, what's going on?
Why is there a woman
and he goes like this, he says, do you know where bingo is? And he walked out. Yeah.
Damn. I got to be not on my phone when I'm watching these episodes because I think I miss half the
I put my phone down, and obviously I got all these notes here too, so it's like ridiculous. I mean, but what's in your notebook? Oh, I'm just writing some stuff about the Love Boat.
It's that old thing.
Normal things. I mean, I'm 46 years old. I'm going to watch the Love Boat.
What else are you doing today?
I think
so. Now John Ritter's in the room with this woman,
the
dressed in drag.
Lady, yes, and she has no idea.
Now it's really funny that I don't know if we want to talk about it now. It's going to come up multiple times during this episode where he eats dinner in drag. He's out on the boat. You know,
they did the Bon Voyage again. I don't know if you noticed that.
With the confetti, yeah.
And that's when we see Dennis watching Jaclyn Smith again from the distance.
Blondie. Yeah,
it's always really creepy. Like he's always like they show Jaclyn Smith and they pan out. And you see Dennis sitting back there. He's got a drink. And he's even got like people talking to him because he starts talking to that couple.
Yes, right.
And that's where we're at. Now we're Susan and John talking, and she's crying about Jerry. Supposed to be there on her honeymoon. He's like, oh my God, he didn't show up for your honeymoon. And she's like, he didn't show up for the wedding either.
So do you go on your honeymoon then? I mean, I guess, but you bring a friend at least.
Yeah.
You don't go on a honeymoon.
And if you go on it, at least have fun. Don't go on it to cry. Just cry at home.
You got dumped at the wedding and you're still going to go on the honeymoon. That's fine. The tickets are paid for, but bring a friend with you or something like that. Just don't go on there by yourself.
You figure she's got to have like a maid of honor. You know? All right,
so again, you know, John Ritter's playing up this dressing in drag thing a lot. She
starts to undress here as well.
He's 6'3". He's obviously not a woman. I just like to say that John Ritter made the early career of faking being something to live with women. You know, between this and Three's Company, which is I think the next year where he faked being gay.
I checked it. It aired the same year.
Oh, okay.
The first episode of Three's Company, I think, was March of 1977, and this was October of 1977. So it was, I guess it was a hit because I think they only did like 6 episods the first season
of Three's Company.
Yeah.
Did they do that back then? They did those like small seasons
and it started in March, so it seems like it was a late season,
mid-season replacement, as they used to call
like
it.
That, yeah.
Okay, so now they're at the bar. They're talking with Isaac. And I would like to point out, I believe this is Isaac's only speaking role in the entire show.
I think he talked one other time.
Did he? Okay.
And also, you'll notice here and another time we'll see some different bartenders. You don't always see other bartenders. It's rare.
I mean, Isaac's got to sleep, but they have really – he has nothing to do so far.
But you would think
boat.
He's got a lot to do with all those people on that boat.
Well,
because there's not a lot of bartenders.
He has a lot to do serving drinks, but I mean, a lot to do as far as being a cast member on this show. There's really no purpose of him being on this show.
No.
He has done nothing through 3 episodes. Last week when he did his like kind of I put a cherry in the martini spiel. That was his biggest.
His line this week was good too because the guy said,
"I know." I say it. I remember he said it. And I'm like, "Oh, it's a good line. I like that."
He says, "Yeah, Isaac always gives us doubles." You know, and he says, and then he said, "Do you know what he said next?"
He's like, he's like, "And I charge you double."
That one made me chuckle. I was like, but again, I was glad to have Isaac speaking, and then for him to have a nice little line there, I thought was pretty good. Dennis is nursing his drink. Isaac makes a joke about loitering, loitering. Like if he keeps sipping on that drink, you're gonna have to charge him for loitering. And then Carl and Linda, that's the couple sitting next to him that say hello and set him up basically.
They're the ones
with
that are
Jaclyn, and they say, "Oh,
we
invited a cute girl from the pool earlier."
Now I do think like this sitting at tables with people you don't know. I do think that's a cruise thing. Like I've never been on a cruise by myself. I've been usually with at least Michelle, if not more people, and I would never sit at a 4-person table if it was just me and Michelle, but I think it's common that you sit at tables with
sort
people
of like
you don't know.
I mean, not recently, but with like comedy clubs, if you went to a comedy club, you know, they'd sit you at a table,
somewhere,
2 of you, 2 couples sometimes. Usually me and Andy would be a couple
We are usually a couple.
when we go to comedy shows. So, yeah.
So John Ritter has just changed out of his female outfit. He's now a man coming out of the linen closet.
That linens closet's going to have a big role.
And also, well, I don't want to get ahead. I get ahead.
I do too. I get excited when I was, I want to say that, and then you forget later.
Well, because really, the last 2 episodes of The Love Boat, one of the crew members is important to the plot of at least one of the stories. Whether it was like last week with Bonnie Franklin being Stubing's ex-wife, and the first episode, well, everybody was kind of important because it was the first cruise, but like the crew doesn't play any part of any of these stories except for Stubing macking on John Ritter and drag. That's the only time
I was uncomfortable at times.
he was macking hard.
That was like
he put the hand on the door, closed the door thing. Although I guess here Doc's hitting on Jaclyn Smith, because why wouldn't Doc?
That's also Doc mentioned that he had bartender ears to Jaclyn Smith, and she said that she turned that guy down for dancing because she didn't want to make him feel bad, which I thought was sweet of Jaclyn Smith. But
yeah. Okay. Wait, Isaac said that. Isaac said
he had
that.
bartender ears.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we had
So Doc is showing Jaclyn Smith how to play solitaire. I mean, that is just so stupid.
Right before this, though,
and this other hot chick comes up and says, "Doc."
That chick that walked up to Doc is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, and she's like, "Doc, weren't you going to show me?"
He takes her a tour of the boat.
Now, listen, good for Doc that he got up and showed this girl his room, I'm sure, but she can see that he's sitting here talking to another woman. Like, is she really going to just like slide over here and be like, "Yo"?
That was very catty, right? I mean,
she doesn't know what's going on. He just met Doc.
Right before this, though, John Ritter asked Julie for
the room,
Joanne's room,
right?
And she gave it to
Pringle's room.
She gave him the room. It was E214 was the room, and
I'm glad you wrote that down.
But you know what was annoying about that scene too? Doc, when she was trying to play solitaire, like that was so ridiculous.
And he's showing her how to play solitaire.
Move the queen, the red queen, to the black king, and it's like, what do you do? And he did it like 5 or 6 moves.
He probably walked over to her while she was playing solitaire. She wouldn't just like, "Hey, you want to learn how to play solitaire? And here's a deck of cards. I'll show you how to do it." Because then you could understand why he'd be pointing out things. But she was probably playing.
She was playing already, yeah.
And he was just like,
and here's the captain getting a little fresh,
because John Ritter has now emerged from the linen closet again, now dressed as a woman.
The way he questioned him too, he's like, "Oh, I thought that was the bathroom or whatever," and then he says, "It clearly says linens." Like Stubing's pissed at him he's like, "It clearly says it on there. Like, what are you doing?"
Should have been like, "I was looking for more towels. My cabin boy hasn't come around yet."
This is
look at Stubing. He just touched her on the nose. Boop. Oh, creepo.
And there was one comment where he said, we have to be careful about, because Stubing was almost being like a feminist. He was like, really, he said, "We're going to become one sex."
Oh,
John Ritter says it's better than no sex at all.
He did make that
and then
comment.
Stubing was like, And then we get, we're back. Their name on the show is the Marshalls, and they're all dressed up and ready to go to dinner. And
now, as an old man, I must say here, I don't think her name is ever mentioned as whatever her name is. Like he's Maurice or something like that. I'm saying as an old man, I have to watch these shows on closed caption because
I do as well. Yeah.
I won't hear half the things that are said. And they kept saying whenever George Jefferson talked, it would say Maurice.
Yep.
And then when she talked, it would say Mrs. Marshall. I was like, does she not have a first name?
I do have her first name here from IMDb. It was Stella Marshall.
Okay,
yeah.
Stella.
That's the same thing.
But I don't think he ever refers to her as Stella, and it's almost as if the closed caption people for Paramount Plus
maybe they didn't know
her name because they never said. Because every time her name is said, is Mrs. Marshall said blah blah blah, and I'm like, why doesn't this poor woman get a first name?
And Sherman Hemsley here, he makes sure to bring sausage. He gives it to LaWanda Page to give to the captain.
They're going to eat at the captain's table, right?
And
it's so funny. I mean, Sherman Hemsley is such a player. He was so proud of his dry cleaning service in the Jeffersons, and now he's so proud of his sausages here. He's always he's a networker.
He's a great, he's seriously, I think the guy was just funny. He had it, you know what I mean?
He had comic timing for sure.
So they get
before they get on. I mean, Jefferson's is great, but him and Carol O'Connor, on All in the Family, were great, sparring back and forth.
So right before they get on the elevator here, Gopher comes out of the elevator and says, like, he's like, "What's that smell?" And LaWanda says, "Chanel number 5." And as Gopher walks away, he says, "Fine, I thought I smelled sausage."
It's so stupid. I mean, it's so stupid. Because first of all, they're packed in some kind of airtight seal, I'm sure. Plus, she's wearing Chanel number 5. I'm sure you can smell that over
But I think it would have worked better if they came out of the elevator. They were out of the elevator. Gopher just came out of the elevator.
Right.
So it would have worked
You're
better.
right. It would be, the smell would be trapped inside the elevator.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're bickering on the elevator, and they're supposed to be going to dinner, but then she says she's going back to the room. Right. And they keep hitting buttons. He's like, "No, we're going to dinner." Pressing the button. Got to sit with the captain. Blah blah blah. And the elevator gets stuck.
Right.
That's a TV trope right there. Right.
Oh, every show has had the stuck on the elevator episode.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, so
will we get another stuck in the elevator? I mean, we had 250 episodes.
I'm sure.
So it's very.
You know, it's funny because looking through the cast as I'm looking through, seeing who's who, you see people's like. Sherman Hemsley's been on the Love Boat like 3 times.
Yeah.
He's not this guy all 3 times. He's just back on as another guy. And I think someone from last week's on again, like Pat Schneider's on, or Pat Harrington's on again as a different character. So
like,
they kept going
some
back
people
to the
that do recurring characters, but a lot of them will be different. Just like, "Oh, you haven't been on the Love Boat in 4 years.
Yeah,
hey, why not?
Come on back." So John Ritter's now at dinner with, what's the girl's name? And he's sharing the room with?
Oh, Susan.
Okay. Yeah. So first of all, why he had it, like he should.
Why did he have gloves on? Well, I guess maybe because he's hiding his man hands, right?
He's probably got hairy knuckles. Yeah. So the fact that he should have been like, "I got plans. I'm going." Like, why would he dress and drag longer than he has to? She should have been like, "I'm going to dinner." He should have said, "Yeah, I'm not going to dinner because I don't want to have to dress up like a woman again," and just done something else as.
This was the straight arrow scene as well.
Okay, because they're looking at
because they see it and they're staring at each other. Joanne and John Ritter is asking Susan about the guy that he's with, and you only see basically his like profile. You don't really see him, but he had like a big hair, like Elvis hair. It looked like.
They both are wearing sunglasses inside. Now, at the very beginning of this episode, when they come into dinner, Doc and was it Isaac are standing at the top of the check-in counter there, and they go walking by, and Isaac's like, "You want me to introduce you to him?" And Doc's like, "Maybe on the last day." Like, I mean, Doc's pulling down some high quality.
What Doc pulled down on
the girl that was in that
boat,
last scene. I mean, he's like, "Yeah, I'll take that 6'3" redhead on the last day because I don't know if I can handle her."
So there was that straight arrow comment by Susan saying that Jerry was like the real deal, and then Dale yelled at Joanne across the whole.
What are you looking at?
Never seen a redhead before.
And John Ritter's got the best female voice because it's just a John Ritter voice kind of turned sideways. Like, "What are you looking at?" Doesn't sound feminine at all. Well, he doesn't look feminine either, but he's not fooling anybody, yet he fools everybody.
It's so, oh man. It was a Three's Company episode, basically.
I mean,
there was a misunderstanding, and
you're right. Three's Company had been out already. Someone had watched a couple episodes of Three's Company and been like, "I know how to use this guy on the Love Boat."
There's more. We're back to the elevator with the marshals. There's a lot bickering.
We got to go back to them because all they're doing is they're spending the whole episode in the elevator.
They were the comedy gold of the episode.
This is the only. I mean, the only scene besides the first time we meet them. They're in the elevator after that. They left the room, got in this elevator, and now they will be in the elevator until the end of the episode.
And they fall. She tried to lift him up. She couldn't do it. Then he was lifting her up basically by sitting on his shoulders. She couldn't reach out of the elevator. They fell and her pearls broke. So she was really sad about her pearls breaking.
Sucks.
Yeah.
And how do you get that string through those little pearls? That must be tough.
This scene here, when Carl and Linda, they're the couple that are eating dinner with Dennis. I honestly thought that they were trying to get a little something going there.
Like a threesome here
at first. And then when they said, we invited someone from the pool earlier. And then
this guy looks like Gary Collins.
There was a lot of Penguin jokes here too.
Yes, because they're wearing tuxes.
He loves to wear the tuxedo.
There was conversations about dressing up for dinner and stuff like that.
Yep. And Dennis likes to wear the tuxedo and get dressed up because it makes it a special moment. The other guy can't stand the tux. Jaclyn Smith comes out, and she's all about getting dressed up. She enjoys it as well because it's a special night. Something good could happen. It just seems like sparks were
flying. The nonsense of dressing up like in it, like if I ever had to go on vacation and bring a tuxedo with me, I am not going on that vacation.
I just think about that.
I'd be like, I'm not going. Sorry.
I would think about it if I did this 5-day cruise.
Yeah, 5-day cruise.
I have a backpack. I think that's all I need.
Yeah, well,
I really think that's all I need.
Brian and I have been on cruises together, and that's what we packed. We were in the clothes like I'm wearing right now was what I was wearing on the cruise the entire time. T-shirts, shorts,
5
sandals,
days. I'll bring 6 T-shirts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Extra pair of underwear just in case there's a bad. They're in
Mexico.
They're in Mexico. They might be drinking some water. You never know what's going to happen. I always like to have an extra pair of underwear just in case.
Okay, so the Carl and not Carl. I'm thinking of Jaclyn Smith and Dennis. They basically, the sparks fly.
They seem like they're a good couple. Do they have any kind of real life coupling?
A year later, Dennis Cole marries Jaclyn Smith, real life.
Interesting.
How about that?
Now,
I should have looked up to see how long they were married. If they,
it was like a year or something like that.
I know because I know he's deceased now.
He's deceased, but he died in the 2000s.
Yeah, he's died within the past 10 years. I think he passed away.
They didn't last long together, but he was also on Charlie's Angels. I saw. I wonder, do they meet here or do they meet on Charlie's Angels? They might have met on Charlie's Angels, and she said, "If I'm doing this show, you got to give my husband a spot on this stupid Love Boat show."
That's true. I thought it was weird. It seems like they have these scenes out by the pool at night, and it's still early. Like you would think there'd be more people out there. Like it just seems,
especially on the West Coast, the sun would still be up at dinner time, but there's never anybody on the boat. But it's much easier to direct a scene with nobody. I mean, no one would be on. People would still be at the pool at this time.
Yeah. I don't know. I just felt like there should have been more people.
Well,
it just seemed
it's easier to direct an episode when there's only 2 people.
Well, when you got 3 directors, you figured you're going to do something. Come on.
We need that laugh track button. There you go. That's a good one.
And a little.
Oh, good Lord.
All right, so we have Dennis and Jaclyn. Like maybe this is where they're falling in love, possibly too. Like.
In real life,
scene, you don't know if
she's like, that's the blondest hair with blackest eyebrows I've ever seen. He should have bleached his eyebrows or bleached his hair, one of the two.
I mean, he has a 2-tone hair to begin with, right? I mean, because there's that brown underneath, right?
Well, it's bleached, I think, so his roots are showing.
I don't know. He's doing something right.
Oh, he's getting Jaclyn Smith. Good for him. So now they are they? She said she's like an old-fashioned girl or something like that in this scene.
Real
right?
quick, though, I think we missed the scene with when Steubing and Julie find out that the elevator was stuck.
They did, yeah. They showed that, yeah.
And it was really quick too because Steubing was just like, "I thought I smelled what they say. He thought he smelled
Chanel number 5 or
insulation burning is what he smelled." And Julie's response to him was perfect because she said she thought she smelled sausages. I don't know. That really got me. I was so excited when I was like, I can't wait to see it.
So now Gopher said it. Julie said it. Like they should make sure that everybody in the cast member at least once.
They should have gotten to say something like about sausages at least once. So now, what were you asking? I'm sorry. Was this the scene? That scene where
when
they were dancing?
Where Jaclyn Smith tells Dennis that she's an old-fashioned girl or something like that. And
yeah, that's also where he mentions his kids.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, right. He pulls out like 20 things and there's a credit card.
You're going to need it.
You're going to need that.
Credit cards were so new back then, right? I mean,
I guess in the 70s, yeah, they were probably newer. So John Ritter's back in his female garb.
He's in his pajamas this time.
It's got to be such a pain in the ass. Like, did he even bring a razor with him? How's he keeping that stubble?
I also wanted to mention, makeup. Did he have some of the best makeup ever for somebody? And he was doing it in a linens closet too.
Very heavy makeup.
He had no mirror in there to be doing his makeup.
Probably
dark. So all right. So yeah, he hugged her. She was naked under the covers, Susan. So
was she? I didn't
and that's when John Ritter's eyes were fluttering. She said, "Do you have a problem?" He said it was a nervous condition, and he needed sleep or a cold shower. And we're back to the elevator with our favorite couple, the Marshalls, and they're bickering. And this time they start talking about a divorce and what they're going to divide up with the divorce.
Oh, right,
and he says it's going to be 50-50. And then she says, LaWanda Page was like, "I'll take the car, and you can have the garage."
And then he's fighting for the kids,
fighting over the kids, and then she said he didn't even know their names.
Yeah. Guess what? I wouldn't be fighting over my kids either. I'd be like, "Yeah, you can have them." They're terrible people.
Michelle will be like, "I think you could have them."
Believe me, there was a comment made at least 15 years ago where Michelle and I said, we'd be the first couple to ever split up and fight over who doesn't get the kids.
Are we allowed to say Michelle on the podcast? I don't know if we have to get her permission.
Well, we'll bleep out her name. Beep. But yeah, we fought over who would actually have to get the kids if we ever got divorced.
That seems like
not luckily we've stayed together. So
that seems like the more of an that's what the argument should have been here. Like, no, you get the kids. No, you take the kids, and they actually.
I was always very, very jealous when my kids were young, and I was going to sports, whatever, usually football, but talking to the other dads, and some of these dads like, "Oh, this is my weekend with the kids." I'm like, so every other weekend you have no kids? How awesome is that? Like, that sounds like such a great deal.
That's 26 weekends out of the year.
Especially at that age. Like right now, who cares about my kids? They're old. They drive themselves wherever they want to go. But back when they're young, pain in ass. A weekend without them would be so nice. Or just be like the dad that shows up for a game and be like, "Okay, you're going with your mom now. Yep. I'm going to the strip club. See ya.
Call me later."
Yeah, call me, but don't call me. Text me and say, "Hey."
Just leave a message.
Yeah, I won't pick up. My kid's calling me. I'll just let that go to voicemail. But really, I mean, fighting over the kids never made sense to me. It's all a ploy for child support.
Even for the 70s, I thought that would have been the funnier. That would have been the funnier thing.
No offense to either of these two characters here, but
either of his two kids.
But,
no offense.
Oh no, much offense towards my kids. But these two seem very old to have kids that you would have to fight over. George Jefferson at this time has Lionel, who's like in his 20s. Not that everybody's family is the exact same, but I don't think they don't have Rugrats. They don't have kids you're fighting over.
LaWanda Page was about to turn 57 that same month that this was.
I don't think their kids are fight over worthy. They're
So she would have had to have a kid at 40 to be under 18. 17, so he was 17.
I mean, I guess it's possible, but even if he's 18 or 17, let that kid decide.
Real quick, they were bickering again in the elevator.
Sorry, did we get off track?
No, it's okay, but I just wanted to get that in real quick. When the elevator opens and it's fixed, they're kissing, they're happy, they're back together kind of thing.
Which basically resolves their entire story right there. I don't know if they ever show up again.
Steubing mentions he smells Chanel number 5.
Oh, he didn't say sausages? Wouldn't that have been great? He's like, I thought I smelled sausages.
Steubing says he smells Chanel. Steubing says he smells Chanel number 5, but Gopher says...
but Gopher said it already. I know. So it would have been better if there was somebody else there to say it.
Isaac should have showed up.
Who gets the sausage line? I've never
3 sausage lines just on that joke, but there was other jokes too.
Stinky sausages.
Bringing the sausage in the joke, having the sausage in the beginning. So that's at least 5.
Yeah, he made the
5 sausage jokes here. PETA, we're sorry. We know you probably won't sponsor us now.
He brought the sausages with him to the captain's dinner because he thought, he's like, the captain will love my sausages.
He's the sausage king.
I'm giving him this gift of sausages, but it's like a pack of. Oh, here we go. Here's a scene where the woman that had the wig that John Ritter stole.
She didn't look bad.
Is now being followed by these guys with the hats on, but
there's no words. It's just, and they walk by. And that's where that was Joanne and
the Pringles is
the Mercedes guy.
Yeah, the Mr. and Mrs. Pringles.
There was the Peter Piper joke they had too.
Peter Piper, yep.
Peter Pringle.
What is with that woman walking with the guys behind her? It's so weird.
Multiple guys too. It's almost like that was her like little entourage or her harem. Yeah. So John Ritter now he's now in men's clothing again, and he approaches Joanne on the. I guess that's one of the decks there. I guess
sure.
Like they're on
the Fiesta deck.
Fiesta deck. That sounds fun.
Yeah, they never have depressing names on the deck. It's never the.
And right before this was when Dennis bought a book. It was a Hemingway.
What book was that?
It was Hemingway, A Movable Feast.
Yeah, I don't know that.
And then she quoted it, so
they both read it.
Yeah,
she had already read it.
He said he was going to return it, and then he gave it to Gopher,
and then she took it back from him.
It's my gift. Book, yeah. So she wanted it.
Yeah, I'm not a big Hemingway guy, and I don't know that book at all. I mean,
I knew of the book. I've heard the title before,
like
but I can't say I've read it. So yeah, back to the whole Dale talking to Joanne there. He basically confronts her. Says he forgives her for going on the boat with with the Mercedes guy. She says she doesn't love him, and she basically said she loves the Mercedes.
Yeah, I don't know what's the like. They'd had to have broken up long before they ever got on the ship for him to go on the cruise with this guy, right?
If it's somebody he met and he took her on a week vacation to a beach house, it just seems like when it was over, he just kept hanging on. That's what it seems like. Yeah. I mean, I love John Ritter, but it just seems like a little craziness. And speaking of craziness, we're about to get into some craziness, I think, with this. So
John Ritter's roommate is going to kill herself by throwing herself off the boat.
Well, first Dale was going to kill himself.
Oh, was he looking to kill himself there?
Yeah,
because I don't think he was going to kill himself.
Yeah, because he was Brian.
Was he? Did he say he was going to kill himself?
Yeah, because he was talking about
it. But he's
it.
like 25-year-old John Ritter. He's
but he
got
also
a lot to live for. What's he going to kill himself for?
I don't think he's even met Don Knotts yet.
Probably not.
He only knows Mr. and Mrs. Roper. Shout out to Mrs. Roper, who was in the pilot.
Yes, that's right. So last week the first week we had Mrs. Roper, and then we had John Ritter, and then we had, wasn't there a tie together?
Yeah.
We had Bonnie Franklin, Schneider. So we had...
This was a little bit insane, this part.
Well, the fact that he says don't jump off the boat, you're going to die if you do, and then they both jump off the boat.
He jumped off instantly after her. Like, there was no time to even think. It was like, you jump, I jump. It was like, but first he was saying she can't kill herself because then he can't kill himself because people think that he's doing it because it was like that.
I was reading the I don't know if it was IMDb trivia or whatever, one of the trivia things after I watched the show, and they were saying how it's so dumb, how obviously this was filmed at a separate time because the boat would have been traveling at a whatever rate of speed, 40 knots.
I love things like that.
And the water is still where they jumped in. I was like, yeah, no fucking shit. They didn't jump off an actual boat that was cruising. I was so dumb. I read it. I'm like, is that trivia or just dumbness?
And
that's dumb.
It wasn't them that was in the
really?
water.
It wasn't John. They didn't ask John Ritter to jump off an 8-story boat. And how they're not hurt? They're not hurt,
and there's like nothing. Nobody's around. They're just in a room together in towels. I'm just like, I don't get.
Yeah, wouldn't
they have had to talk to like people
at least questioned, if not arrested,
like,
for jumping off
Doc
the boat?
Check him out,
or
or
questioning this woman, say, did this guy push you off or something like that?
Doc might have been busy giving another tour.
And here's my office, and just lie down on this table over here.
Doc was in the middle of like examining him, and that girl just showed up again. She's like, "Hello,
hey, I thought you were going to take me on a tour. I gotta go." But yeah, so John Ritter just kissed her as he was leaving.
Like
it's just a peck on the cheek,
yeah,
not a tongue or anything like that. But now they're eating dinner together, and he's back in.
Because he had
female
it was tough
garb.
She didn't want to do dinner with him, right?
Yeah. Well, they just met. They met as they were.
Well, they're staying in the same room. I mean, come on, it's got to advance the relationship.
I mean, she just met the man version of Dale, as they were jumping off the boat. So she doesn't really know him yet.
But she's all about him as she's talking to John Ritter in drag. She's telling him how great he is.
I do believe she makes a comment along the lines of like, my roommate's real ugly. Like, I can't not go eat with my roommate. She's really ugly. And that's, of course, John Ritter.
And I guess that's a good thing, though, for him. He's like, so he's not a good looking girl. But the thing she says about Dale as a guy, one that she jumped off the boat with, she was basically saying she was ready to have sex with him.
Yep.
Because she wants the room. She asks him to sleep somewhere else.
Right. She asks her to sleep somewhere else.
I'm sorry. Yes, her. Yes, the female.
Yeah. Bad
that's
job.
Confusing. I apologize.
Bad job on John Ritter not changing his name for. I guess he has a androgynously sounding name in Dale. Like, it could be. Yeah,
because when I first looked at the IMDb before I watched the episode, and I saw it was Dale Riley / Reinhardt, and I was like, "What the hell's going on there?" And then obviously the cross-dressing, which didn't even cross my mind at first, and then.
But why do you have to change his last name? Does he say why? Nah, who cares?
I thought about that. I don't think there was a reason. Yeah. So she's supposed to meet the male Dale,
right?
Male Dale at 9:00 or something. So they're ending their dinner.
This was torn from the pages of Three's Company right here, where he has to run to the room and change and get.
She hugs him and you would think that he's got to be a
a burly man.
Yeah, he's like a big. She's a small woman.
And
Like,
she's
not,
like, is that your gun in your pants or something?
And then guess what
Yeah,
happens?
now it gets Three's company all like now Steubing has intercepted him.
Dale was about to go rush and change back into a male, and Steubing says it's time to have our date, so to say, or
Doc's like, not till the last night. That would be great if Doc walked by. He's like, I'll get her tomorrow. Right. So do they? I wonder how this boat works as far
Susan
as
asks again. She asks Julie about a specific person being on the boat.
Oh, okay, right.
I just don't understand that. Relax.
There was no. This is pre 9/11. There's no Freedom of Information Act or Freedom of Information, Freedom for Information.
You just have to think though that there had to be incidences where somebody said, "Yeah, it's during room E214," and then something happened. Like, "Hey, can you send FBI in here? We got like blood all over this room. We don't know what's going on. There's blood and semen all in this room. We don't know what happened." And apparently there was 2 females in this room.
Where'd all the semen come from?
John Ritter was very viral back then.
Oh, God.
So we get our first kiss, really, from Dennis and Jaclyn out on the by the pool again. There's a couple of people at the bar in the background. Some other people walking around. So
not Isaac working the bar though, but
that was one of the things I had here. Yeah, Isaac.
Where's Isaac?
He doesn't have a line, so let's give it to the crew.
Isaac.
Give it to one of these crew guys.
So this is, I think, where they're having the conversation about she's a good girl and married, and that means something. And
she can't do it. She says, and she mentions that Dennis tries to tell her, she won't let him. She kisses him goodbye, and.
But she doesn't know yet.
This was Three's Company like too, because it's like all you have to do is let this guy speak for 2 minutes.
Just let me explain.
But they cut it off. I mean, I guess that's how you make TV. But it's just like if you would have just let him speak. I mean,
Three's Company, every episode would have been over in the first 2 minutes if they would just all get in a room and talk together, rather than be on the other side of the door or hear it, the rumor.
And this is where Steubing's laying it on really thick again.
Like, this is date rapey right here. Like, John Ritter's lucky he got out of this room with his innocence intact.
And he's Steubing makes sure that he tried to kiss her.
He's rubbing his cheek up on her, and
Steubing says you have to see him tomorrow. He wants to see her tomorrow. 4 bells is what he called it. That's 4 o'clock, I'm assuming.
Oh.
I guess that's boat talk.
Is it 4 bells is 4 o'clock?
I'm thinking 4 bells would be 4 o'clock because
here we go. John Ritter's running down.
This is classic Three's Company stuff right here too. The feather boa gets stuck in the door, and then
now he's looking for his clothes.
This is probably like day 3 or 4, I'm assuming, on the ship, and his clothes are missing.
Yeah, because someone has actually used the towels that are in this linen closet or the blankets. So someone probably came in there to change someone's sheets. Someone's semen-soaked sheets, and it was like, oh my God, there's men's clothing in here.
This is where Julie tells Susan that there's nobody by that name, I guess Dale Reinhardt, on the bus.
It's Judge Reinhold, I think.
Because even Susan made a comment about Dale being the same name.
Yes, she did say that.
Yeah. And
I mean, this is the end. We're coming up on the end right here. We're coming up to the end here. This is the best line in the whole show, the Odale.
Oh yeah, that was the name of one of the.
That's the name of this particular episode or scene.
And that third, the only thing is with that third Odale, you throw in an exclamation.
Yeah, because he probably threw
an exclamation point.
He probably grabbed Sherman Hemsley's sausage and was like, "Look at this."
And this is where he
takes her back to the room, and he's like, "Listen."
She thinks she's going back into the room with
female Dale. And now she's like, Odale.
I wish we could play this for you because it was so great. It was 3 Odales, and the third one had that exclamation.
The third Dale had the recognition to it. Oh, Dale.
And it was a happy Odale.
Yeah. So their story's over now.
Yep. And now Jaclyn's looking for Dennis because
and notice we have not gone back to the Mr. and Mrs. Marshall story in
it's been
at least 10 minutes.
While, yeah.
They spent their time in the elevator and their plot line got resolved.
Now, You got to figure there's a lot of people on these ships, right? I mean,
Sure.
So now when this random person, Jaclyn Smith, shows up to Julie, the cruise, your cruise director,
cruise director,
and she asks about one specific person, Dennis, and she says, "Oh yeah, he flew back to L.A." Like she knew instantly that he flew back to L.A. And
when Brian and I were on our cruise together with our wives.
You flew back to L.A.?
No, but like one time I just walked up to a random ship person. I said, "Where's Brian?" And they're like, "Oh, he's in the crapper." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." I'm like, I'll look for him in there. And he was.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that was a very helpful person.
It's nice to know that. I mean, do you guys wear like name tags? Like, hello, my name is? And so this way everybody knows who everybody is?
Brian did. It was very silly.
This was weird too, because Dale comes over and he's booking a cruise for 2 weeks later, the same cruise.
Yep.
What kind of jobs do these guys have that they're able to
just take another vacation
every 2 weeks? They're just taking a 5-day cruise.
It's very silly that he would want to take
like they could have looked up his name there and saw that he wasn't on the. But they were afraid to admit that they were into him.
Well, definitely
because they're like,
Stubing.
He looks very familiar. Don't I know you? Yeah, you were just basically rubbing your cheek on him. So.
Is that the end of the episode? No. Okay. So
no.
Jaclyn Smith, we haven't resolved.
Commercial.
He left. He flew to L.A. Right.
He flew to L.A.
Eyebrows flew to L.A. So
and we have no idea. But here we get the Marshals leaving.
Okay, they're saying goodbye and they're happily in love again.
They can't wait to get home to the sausages.
Notice she's carrying the bags. George is not carrying the bags. She's carrying the bags.
Yep, and he's excited to get home to his sausages, not his children. That was the line that was made there. And then
again,
coming onto the boat, everybody's pretty much. This is the end of the cruise, and then we get Dennis coming back onto the boat. He's back on the boat.
Why would he go back on the boat and not just wait out on land where everybody's going to be coming anyway?
I would think if you get on the boat, it would be harder to find her.
Sure, because she could be coming off another deck.
So he wants to explain to. Oh, her name was Janet, by the way. Jaclyn Smith was Janet.
These people have names.
He had two reasons to come back. And he said, husband made him watch her. He told her,
she didn't know till now that he was private eye or whatever. He flew
back to L.A. to give the money back to her husband because.
So he got off the boat in Cabo, I guess, or
I believe it was Cabo or Ensenada,
and flew
to L.A.
back. I wonder what the itinerary for these boats are. Is it one day at sea both ways, or I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah,
I was just wondering, I wonder how long she was on the boat before.
It would have been pretty cool if we could find an itinerary online for each episode. That would be fun. And the second reason was he's there to tell her that he loves her.
Yes,
and we saw those signs, and he says basically, he understands.
I love you.
She's just finding all this out. I love you. If you want to do something, he'll be waiting. Is what he says. She then goes outside. She's leaving, and her husband's there. It's a really cold greeting for someone that you haven't seen for 5 days.
Again, like these people that go on vacations by themselves, so weird. I know it's a show, but
he basically asks if she met anyone, and she says, "Yeah, your guy,
Blondie with the eyebrows."
And
and she's passed him his card. He's like, "Here's his business card."
He wants to go home and talk things out, and she says there's nothing to talk about, and she's going to check into a hotel and says goodbye, Lucas.
Goodbye, Lucas.
And then we're going to get they're
going to hook up.
Your TV tropes where the one person's leaving and they're hailing a taxi, and who's in the taxi?
Oh, right. Spoiler. So that's the end of the episode then, where she gets in the cab.
She gets in the cab, or basically he gets out and says he offers her a lift. She says she needs it, and then she also makes a joke about him still owing her $3.90 for backgammon.
Nice. Now, why would a taxi actually stop for another fare if you already had someone in the car?
Yeah, because you don't see Dennis say stop.
Yeah. So the cabbie's just like, I can take two for the price of two. That'd be fun.
He's like,
he must have said stop.
Hey, cabbie, you want to stop here? I'm trying to get this broad to come home to me and my 5 children.
Oh, is he a widower? Do we find out he's a widower?
Yeah, he said that his wife died.
Yeah. He can't just be divorced.
But basically,
that's
he's just like
sad.
I guess that was his job to be on the cruise. So it's not like he went out there like leaving.
He was on there on there for getting paid to be on there.
The taxi drives off, and then that's credits. That's your episode 2, season 1.
So again, I know we've talked about this on other episodes. This would be a better show if they cut it down to 2 stories. Like
you could get a little more in depth.
I keep wanting to say the Jefferson story, but the Marshall story is pointless. Pointless. They are in the show for a quarter of the time that the other two stories are on. And then
we could have had so much more with the John Ritter stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like
John
the
Ritter
falling
and drag
in the
is-
ocean.
yeah,
I mean, we had so much more that seemed rushed because they were like,
We gotta
they
get
jump
back-
in the ocean in or out of the ocean within 2 scenes. It's done.
I wonder if there's a extended episodes where they show deleted scenes. I wonder if they film more than they.
And then they had to
show.
edit it down to.
I don't know.
If we could
It was
find
fine.
if
It was better
anybody
than last
if anybody
week's
knows
episode.
where we can find that footage, we'd definitely like to
Call Tori Spelling. She might have it in the vault. I don't know. It was a fine episode. It was better than last week's episode, I think. This
episode definitely
I
had
think
me
John
a little-
Ritter makes it a plus.
I think Sherman Hemsley.
Sherman
helped,
Hemsley, if he was in it more, it would have been better if Sherman Hemsley and Jack were sharing a room, or Jack. If John Ritter and Sherman Hemsley
Tripper?
were sharing a
Jack
room,
Tripper?
Jack Tripper were sharing a room.
He's down at the
Now, that
Regal
would have been
Beagle.
fun. Sherman Hemsley.
What if they went to the Regal
John
Beagle
Ritter.
afterwards? That would have been great. They had a little.
Now where's
that was Santa Monica, right?
Santa Monica? So I mean, from the L.A. ports, that would be a hike, but it's doable. I mean, it's within probably an hour.
That was before he was working with Mr. Angelino.
Right. Well, the less said about that. That's Three's a Crowd, right?
No, Mr.
Well, I guess
Angelino
was the end of.
He was
end
working
of,
for him,
yeah,
and
Three's
then,
Company.
But if you want, next week's episode seems like it could be fun too. We got some fun guest stars on that one,
All right,
so
give 'em to
I'll
me.
mention those. So, your wife's favorite, Scott Baio, is going to be on there.
She's a Baio fan.
Christy McNichol,
Wow. Okay.
Richard Mulligan.
Who Christy McNichol and Richard Mulligan would be on the show Empty Nest together. He would be her father.
Yep. Robert Reed,
Mr. Brady.
Mr. Brady, Loretta Swit.
Hot Lips.
Yep.
Wow. Big cast.
And that's our next week.
I could already do the IMDb with this and not know anything else that Loretta Swit was in besides MASH, and Robert Reed was in Brady Bunch, and I'm sure he was in other things.
Now
Scott Baio was in.
I'll just do.
Arrested
We'll do one
Development.
for now. Which one do you want me to do before we
Do
close?
Baio because he probably did more.
Okay, so before we look, we're going to try and guess
Well,
Baio. I'm
Happy
gonna say
Days.
Happy Days. Charles in Charge.
Oh, of course, Charles in Charge. Zapped.
Zapped is a good one. How about
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development's nice.
Scott Baio turns 40 or whatever that stupid
I
show
remember that
was.
show. Was there something else? I guess Joni Loves Chachi could
Joni
be on
Loves
there.
Chachi.
So let's see. Scott Baio's top 4. Arrested Development.
Nice. Bob Blah Blah.
Super Babies.
Never heard of it.
Never heard
I
of
hate this stupid game. This is the worst game ever.
Happy Days.
He was on that.
And The Bread, My Sweet. That's his top 4.
Come on, man. That's such a stupid. Like, is IMDb.
Like if you see that top 4, you think, oh, he was Happy Days. That's it. You don't think of Arrested Development, Bob Blah Blah, though. It's great.
Logan was doing this game to me earlier and just picking random people out. He was going through the channels. Lethal Weapon was on. So he did Mel Gibson. And I was like, all right, obviously, you're going to have.
Do you know it or you want me to pull it up?
It doesn't even matter what it was because the point of it is I was like, okay, Lethal Weapon is going to be on there. Braveheart's going to be on there. Mad Max or Road Warrior is going to be on there. And then I don't even remember what I said for the fourth one, but Mad Max and Road Warrior were not on there. And it was like one of them was like Conspiracy Theory, some shitty movie he did with Julia Roberts. I'm like, whoever saw that movie? Why
Did he
is
do
that
any rom-coms?
Why
Was
is
any
that
rom-com in
No,
there or
not
anything
even
like
because
that?
he did that like What Women Want or
That's
whatever.
what I was thinking
it's
of,
like
yeah.
none of that. But I was like, how
Now
is Mad Max?
See, now I
not
got to
on
look
there?
it up because
But I don't know the
curious.
algorithm that IMDb uses for this game because it's terrible.
it's a horrible. That then
It should be their top
the
four
people
most
can
popular
log in
things.
as themselves and update it, but nobody's doing it.
Who?
Scott Baio's not going to go on and update his IMDb. You
No,
know what I
of
mean?
course, like for what purpose? So that Andy doesn't get all pissed off when the game doesn't plan out the way he wanted it to.
All right. So what was your 4 again?
For Mel
originally?
Gibson,
Yeah, that you said. for Mel
it was
Gibson.
Braveheart, one of the Lethal Weapons, probably Lethal Weapon 1 or 2, Mad Max or Road Warrior, and what was the fourth one that I said?
Tango and Cash.
Was he in Tango and Cash?
Wasn't that him? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
No, there's another big movie that I'm missing out on.
Well, his top 4. You had 2 of them: Braveheart,
Yeah.
Lethal Weapon, Conspiracy Theory, that one that you mentioned before, and Ransom was the 4th one.
Ransom. Give me
It's
back
like,
my
give me back
son.
my son.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually a good movie. What was the other Mel Gibson movie that I was thinking of? But Road Warrior's got to be on there. Road Warrior's an all-time classic.
I'm surprised it's not on there yet. That's like, why did they put Daddy's Home 2 on there? That would, even The Expendables, he was in that.
Or that really great tape where he was all drunk and like yelling at the cops or screaming at his wife. That was a great.
Oh, that was one of my favorites. That clip,
Yes.
yeah. Can we play that or not?
That tape where he's yelling at his wife, he's like, "You fucking pig." I'm like, good God. I'm like, this guy is a terrible person.
It was, he hit the P in pig when he said it was like, you really knew.
And then the infamous drunk driving, like where he was blaming the Jews for everything.
Yes.
Hard J there too.
Oh, yeah. That was very.
Well, he's obviously an anti-Semite. He made that. Oh, The Passion. That was the other movie that I was thinking he should be credited for. He directed it.
As I say, he didn't act in it, but they could still put the director.
Yeah, but I mean, he won like an Oscar
that's
for
a director.
that. So,
that's a big movie, I think, that he did. Yeah, I would put that up there.
And he did that Apocalyptico or whatever. He directed that too.
Yeah.
Those are both like big.
He wasn't
like,
in them, but he directed both of them.
Those are like big time movies, both of them. But yeah, Mel Gibson is a terrible person. Listen, Lethal Weapon was on before I was watching it. I'm not going to not watch good movies that terrible people are in. Yeah. But I'm glad he doesn't do anything else now. Although I did hear rumors that there might be a Lethal Weapon 5.
I saw I saw Loaded Weapon recently.
I saw clips of that the other day. I don't know what I was watching.
There was actually some funny parts.
I saw that movie in the theater. Yeah. Emilio Estevez and Samuel Jackson, like Pulp Fiction. Samuel L. Jackson, like he is a young unknown in that one. In fact, I remember like going in to see that. I thought he was Lawrence Fishburne. Like when I first like saw the commercial for that movie, I was like, "Who's that dude?" I'm like, "I guess that's Furious Styles from Boys in the Hood," but then it was not.
There was also a Loaded Weapon 2, I think.
Oh, was there?
I think they did a sequel. Yeah, but
that's great that they actually called it Part 1, like in the credits. William Shatner was the bad guy in that. Terrible.
Bill Shatner.
All right, are we done with Love Boat?
Love Boat was good. Yeah,
I think we were done like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We'll close that episode out. Thanks. This would be if had any sponsors. We'd love to Blue Chew if you're out there. And join our Patreon when we set it up.
This is for later use.
I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
And Brian.
Oh, good Lord.
We'll get the timing down soon.
Later.
Thank you.